Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff. Hey guys, welcome back to Fandom Family Chats. I'm Maureen.
I'm Jeanette.
And I'm Amanda.
We are back with another The Way Home recap. Now, it was a little tricky because I thought it was still going to air with the Super Bowl because, again, I don't have cable. I always watch it the next day.
Same. I got on and was super disappointed.
Exactly. My daughter had been asking me for days, can we please watch it? We're like, oh, fine. Okay, we'll watch it today. And she was so sad that there was no new one. So, one episode today. We are going to discuss episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
And the next The Way Home will be 5 and 6. So I know that we've been doing 2 at a time, but this week we're back to 1. So let's dig in to episode 4. Do you know what happened? What's going on? What are your theories?
Well,
what do you want to talk about?
The first opening scene, were you all freaked out with like Alice's dream or whatever? Because like,
I hate the dream things.
No, I knew
like,
it was a dream. I felt like I knew it was a dream.
I was so confused because I was like, wait, why would we go back to a time when Colton like is still alive and Jacob's there again? Like, what are we doing here? I did think, I don't know. I don't think there was really much to that scene other than just getting her motivation of wanting her to want to go back some more. But
yeah,
Jacob saying the "I'm drowning" thing to her, I feel like that's something.
A clue.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's a clue necessarily just about him or like something else. I don't know. But I wrote that down because I was like, I feel like we're going to come back to this for some reason. So we'll see. And then we've got Brady in town, obviously, which I think you all said that that's what was going to happen, probably, since she's not going. He was just going to come there, which
he was going to come there.
I think we all saw that because, I mean, we had to, I feel like Brady's like a part of the story we're not losing. Like, he's got to like continue to be in these or whatever.
Can I just say that I am way more cool with Brady than I'm with Elliot right now?
You know, I have in my notes, like a little bit later, but I wrote, am I Team Brady? And put a question mark.
I'm not Team Brady and Kat, but I like Brady a whole lot more than I like Elliot right now.
I do love how Brady was so protective over Dell in this land. Like, that was it. So like when this show started, they were already like getting divorced. So I don't feel like we ever got that sense of family, home life past anything when it came to Brady and anything.
Yeah, I think this episode did wonders.
It was kind of nice. Yeah, like, you got to kind of see that.
Even with the proposal, like when he's asking like young Brady, when he's asking like Dill's kind of permission, the nice things he was saying about Kat and how he wanted to take care of her, like, and I don't remember if it was this episode or another one because I rewatched all 4 of these this week just to kind of take some good notes. I wanted to just kind of, these kind of shows I like to rewatch just to kind of focus back in. At some point, Kat says that like it was just the last couple years that was bad. Like we hear her say those words. So I don't think Brady is even out of the picture as far as, because who cares about Rachel? We've never laid eyes on Rachel. I'm always worried about Rachel.
Okay.
So
who
think
has
Brady could still be a part of this.
Do you think that Kat and have they met Rachel? Has anybody met Rachel?
I think so.
Have they?
I think so.
Do we know?
I think they have.
Didn't Rachel work at his firm?
I think so. Yeah.
I think she was like.
So it can't be it can't be somebody we know from the past or the future.
No, it's not. I think in season 1, I think they had said that she was his secretary or she was somebody else's. But I think they worked together.
Yeah.
So I do think turn out to be somebody.
I do think it means something that the audience hasn't met her. I don't think she's has to stay. I think she can easily go away and no one cares because we've not been introduced to her at all. We feel nothing for her.
There's a reason that she's been, unless maybe it's just budgetary, but I think that would be a lazy reason not to include her. But
I think it leaves it open-ended on whether we keep Rachel in the storyline or not.
I honestly don't see any romantic chemistry between Brady and Kat, but I like their relationship as it is, like with that whole ring thing. Yeah. I enjoyed that. That was sweet. I enjoyed that progression. I think they worked really well together as friends.
I think it could easily, I mean, obviously the fact that they've been married for as long as they were and all that, I think we could easily get back there if they decide to take the storyline there, in my opinion.
I wonder if there's going to be some sort of transfer because Brady, she says to Brady,
You Are My Only Home. But the title of the show is The Way Home, and she's back on her land. So I wonder if there's some kind of connection between that transfer.
Could be. Do we know? Okay, so this struck me as odd, and maybe I don't know. When Alice goes back, okay, so 9/11 has just happened, or you know, or at least is October. So the Canadians are like joining the war against terrorism, all the thing, and we're all, me and Maureen especially, Amanda's close by, about the same age as Elliot and Kat and all of them. So, like, I understand the focus and how, you know, yes, it probably did affect them, but like, I wonder why that's being put in the show to hone in on. Is there a reason? I mean, I don't know. It just strikes me as odd because, like,
that way you can, I don't know, kind of sets a tone of where the country and like how everybody's kind of acting during that time, because it was different.
It was.
And I know I was young, but it was different.
Yeah.
I think because it was such a monumental event and Kat was going back to, I mean, we had to see the proposal.
Right.
And that happened to be in 2001. So I don't think it's as significant because it didn't happen we don't go back in September of 2001.
Right.
We go back after that, around Thanksgiving-ish time. I mean, he said it was October, but I felt like it was near Thanksgiving. So I feel like that's the only thing, is that she had to go back there, and because it was such a monumental thing, it had to be a part of the story because it is something that happened then. It's monumental. It was a real thing, and it affected everyone. I do think that I think I didn't think about this until Amanda said it, but I think she's right that it set the tone for what he's going to feel like. But it's that Elliot that I can't stand.
Oh, I hate him. I actually hate him, and I don't.
Me too.
Yeah.
He's unfair. My daughter was like, why? Brady stole her. Brady did not steal Kat. Elliot had 16 years to tell her how he felt. He didn't. Even his best friend Nick urged him, tell her. He didn't. And then he's mad that Brady's with her, and he's crying over everything involving Kat and punishing Alice for it.
Yeah.
And I can't stand when they go back and see him. I can't stand it.
I'm okay with him, I guess, being sad over it, whatever. I think it's a bit dramatic. That's just
the way he's acting is insane, though.
But the way he treated Alice over it, like, is very strange. I don't know. I'm so confused on where we're gonna go with this younger set story.
I know where they're going. Kat is gonna sleep with Elliot when she's engaged to Brady.
I don't get that feel, because I
do.
Do we not think we would have already known that, though, that it would have happened?
I think it was a mistake that Elliot and Kat tried, because Elliot was so in love with her. I think that's one of the reasons why she stayed away from home for so long, because she did that with Elliot, and she was like, there was a mistake. I don't feel this way. I'm with Brady, blah, 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 whatever. But I think that's the only thing that could happen that could make Alice hate Elliot and be so mad at her mom, but that her mom and her eventually work it out.
Or maybe Elliot said, I loved you, and she...
But why would she be mad at Kat for that?
I don't think, because I got the impression, which, I mean, I haven't seen season 1 in a while. Kat seems so surprised in present time that Elliot ever had these feelings for her. So I don't know. It just seems weird. It felt like younger Kat never knew that Elliot felt this way.
I don't think she knew that he was in love with her. I don't think she's ever known until recently. But I think that she has convinced her. My theory is that they did sleep together, but I think that she has convinced herself it wasn't love. It was just, we're here, we're lonely, we're sad, we're in a fight, and we gave in to urges that we just needed filled. I think that's how she's done it. And so she stayed away because she was like, I can't ever let Brady know this happened. And
I wrote down in my rewatch, while we're talking about whatever's going to happen, obviously whatever's going to happen to make Alice mad at them is whatever's happening at Lingermore. We can all agree with that, right? With the flashbacks at Lingermore, when both Kat and Elliot are, the lady that died, her like house, when they're there, they're hearing those voices of some sort of flashback.
I thought that was Goodwin.
Yeah, that's her. They call it Lingermore.
Oh, Lingermore is the name of the house. Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Right?
Sorry.
Okay, hold on.
I thought you were saying her last name was Lingermore. That's why I was confused.
In the rewatch, have you all watched it with captions to see exactly what's being said?
But I don't remember.
Yeah.
So remind me.
Okay. So I
can't hear my TV unless the captions are on.
Same.
That's fine. Okay, I hadn't written them down, I guess. So when Kat first hears it, it doesn't say like who's saying the words. It's just a woman's voice that says, you shouldn't have come here. And then a man yells, get out. Okay, so that's what Kat hears.
What up in this episode?
This all in the first episode.
Okay.
And then
when she's in the house.
Yes. And then in the second episode,
when Kat is like looking out on the lawn and she's like here. Okay, yeah. I know where you're at. Okay.
And then when Elliot's by the stairs in episode 2, I think it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's
hearing those voices.
This one it lists who's saying it in the captions. So young Elliot says, she said she wants you to leave. Kat says, Alice, just go back inside. And then Brady says, stay out of this, buddy, all right? And then a woman screams. But here's my thing. Kat swears that she never saw Alice again. In this thing here, she's clearly talking. She says the word Alice. She says, Alice, just go back inside.
I think the hard thing with this too is that with these, because I thought with those flashbacks, I thought they were like really far flashbacks, not necessarily things that are happening after Alice stopped coming. I kind of assumed that it was because Elliot and Brady were really confrontational whenever they were around each other when Brady first started coming around. But they got better enough that Brady asked him to be the photographer for their engagement.
Right.
So I don't think it was something that Kat kept doing. I think it was something that Kat went further back. So for Kat, it was, I never saw you after that point. But I think Kat returned further back.
But
that's how I thought it when I saw the episode.
But in this incident, like something's going to happen. Like I think this incident is what they're worried about Alice being upset about. But why is Kat pretending like Alice didn't ever go back? My question is did Alice for some reason, I don't know. I hate time travel.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that I think
she doesn't have that memory at the time that she was saying that, but then it's being altered because Alice keeps going back.
No, because Elliot knows. Remember they were sitting at the karaoke night. She looked at Elliot and said, she continues to go back, doesn't she? And he said, yes. And she said, does she see? And he said, yes.
That's what I want to know is what does she see?
I think it's something here. What is this woman, this screaming? I feel like something really bad's going to happen to somebody.
And I think that
I always thought it was going to be Kat cheating on Brady with somebody.
That's what I thought with Elliot is what I thought. But I forgot about that scene right there. I have to go back and watch the whole series because I forgot, or the season.
Yeah.
But I think it feels like something more serious than that.
I genuinely think the fact that Elliot has the memory and Kat does not. Now, someone commented on our YouTube and said that the way they explained it in the show, which I completely forgot that they explained it this way. I still don't remember it. I'll have to go back and watch season 1 again. But she said that they say that the memories are already there because they have happened already technically, even though she hasn't really gone back in time. They know the pond knows that she's going to go back in time, supposedly. So I guess Elliot. So the fact that Kat does not, because she even has to ask Elliot, does she see? I don't think she realizes that Alice was there for whatever she sees. So if it's that scene, are we sure that it's Kat that says Alice go back inside?
It's what my caption said. It's that has the word Kat, like it's Kat saying it, and then it says Alice.
Okay,
just go back inside. Now, if the captions got it wrong, because I mean, we know that can happen sometimes, you know what I mean? But like, that's what the captions are saying. And I feel like in a show like this, like y'all need to be careful with your captions. Like, don't mess it up because we're basing our theories off of this.
It's going to be a green ring. Everything's a green ring pop though. Absolutely everything.
Right.
Before we get too far too, because it kind of happened in the beginning. If we're doing a recap
of episode 4.
About when she talked to Danny. And then he mentioned Jacob's pond.
Oh yeah.
Jacob's pond.
Because he had all those Polaroids of the pond.
Yeah. And this is the first time we've ever gotten a clue that Jacob continuously went back to the pond. It was his pond. And there's a reason why. So that almost, we already kind of know it was confirmed that he went. But how, do we think he was time traveling before that? Or was that the first time?
I think that he was too young.
I would have thought so, but why would he keep coming back to the pond?
Maybe he saw the dog continue to do it.
That's what I think. He kept
getting curious, like Finn would disappear for periods of time and then come back.
No, because remember Danny also said it has to do with the White Witch, the stories of the White Witch. So maybe Danny met with the White Witch there. Not Danny, Jacob. Maybe maybe the White Witch appeared there, and Jacob had some kind of confrontation with her, whatever. Maybe, I mean, that Goodwin guy.
But we also think that he married the White Witch. So
I don't think she's the White Witch anymore. I think she is probably of that, because I guess it's Elliot's line that is the witch. So there must be witches upon witches in his line.
Because do you all remember, this was something else I caught at the very beginning of season 2? We open with an old woman with white hair holding the hand of a little boy, which looks like back in the 1800s, telling him about the pond, and says, like, I wrote down exactly what she said. She said, you need to stay here for now. Yeah. And like takes his hand. So like, I'm assuming she's the White Witch, but we just don't know who she is.
We don't know who it is.
And if that's
right, Dell.
I swear to God, somewhere in my mind that has always been. I don't know how that works. I don't actually believe it.
I have
thought Dell. I've just thought Dell is involved in this more than we realize for some reason.
I have to say it because if it turns out being that way, I got to be like, yeah, I said it.
I don't know.
I'm actually going to be upset if it is Dell, because Dell has mourned so completely for so long, driving everyone else away because she's so grief stricken.
Yeah,
if that is really Dell, I think it's going to be incredibly lazy writing, and I'll be actually pretty angry.
Yeah, or maybe it's not even Dell until Dell's older. Maybe Dell right now doesn't even know.
Well, maybe, but I think
because she's old.
I think the lady at the beginning is very old. Yeah,
so it might be Dell in the future.
What if it is that
Evelyn Goodwin?
But what if this woman holding Jacob's hand? I mean, it seemed to me like, as she was talking about where he needs to stay, what he needs to do, he's still young, right? So it's in my head that happened right after he jumped in the pond and came out the other side. Yes. So he seemed to be very comfortable with this woman who we presume to be the White Witch. So if he's that comfortable with her immediately, she had to have been in the present at that pond.
Yeah.
Or not present in the past.
The thing is,
2000s past.
I don't think we even for sure know that it's Jacob. That it's because it's just a little boy from the back with that haircut. So like, it could be again a fool, like fooling us with something. I think it is Jacob, but who knows?
I feel like there's still so much to the story.
There's so much, because we have to go back to Elliot's dad too, since we're talking about his line, Augustine, right? That's the name.
Who's dad?
Elliot's dad. The way I
don't think that man's real.
I'm starting to wonder if the only thing that's stopping me from having this theory completely is that when Elliot came home and there was a note that said, "Be back Friday" or whatever, and Elliot was very visibly sad. That I don't know that, but here's my thing though. I don't know that that's his dad necessarily. That could just be the person he's with. I think maybe there's a possibility that maybe Elliot met Kat back in 1814. Or something like that. He saw her because that's when she had her picture drawn, right? And maybe he's still part of the Augustine witch line. He's a warlock of some sort, maybe, but he doesn't practice. He's just traveling the pond. And that's why he's so emotional to see her torn away from him again. Maybe he's trying to catch her in time periods to be with her, and he keeps getting her ripped away from him.
I don't know if I think that. I don't know. I don't know if
saw him grow up.
I know.
I do think there is a possibility that his dad is a time traveler for sure, because there's a reason why we have not seen his face yet. What if he's a familiar face from the 1814s that then when we do see Victor's face, we're going to be like, hold on, no, you are so-and-so, like from...
Maybe it was the guy who shot Kat.
I mean, I feel like maybe... Right? Thomas Coyle or whatever his name was.
Who was the guy in the beginning of this episode? In the beginning of episode 4, we see, or not the beginning, it's after she talks to Elliot, Kat goes back in time, right? She sees that little powwow around the fire. Who was that guy who was like, "I like to win"? What was his name? I didn't catch it.
That's Thomas Coyle. That's the one that shot her.
Oh, that is the one who shot her. Because I couldn't tell for sure. I feel like that I kept trying to picture it, but the other guy looked much older and more gruff.
Okay, so let's talk about Thomas Coyle, because this is where my theory of Jacob being the ghost that's tied up in the lighthouse, this is where it all starts to tie in. Okay, so this discussion is the Goodwin guy is accusing Thomas of stealing his shipments and all that stuff off his boats or whatever, and Thomas is saying, no, but I will definitely catch, because he's obviously shady. We can tell he's shady. He's like, but I will catch who is. For whatever reason, Jacob is not in any of these almanacs. He's nowhere to be heard of, even though he built the lighthouse, all this. Something obviously has to happen. Do we think that Thomas is going to somehow frame him for this crime of stealing stuff from Cyrus Goodwin? And this is where I think Jacob's going to go to jail and probably be executed because of this fake crime. Hopefully they'll stop it, and that will be something we change in the time period. there's a reason why he's not in any of the stuff. Something is going to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like this was a clue that maybe he's going to get framed for this like crime, and that did you all haven't watched it again? You need to go back and watch the episode where they talk about the lighthouse ghost, because I never thought about it until this episode, until I was rewatching again, that the person haunting this that they all make the jokes about could possibly be Jacob.
It could also be
the one that built it.
It could also be Sarah Augustine, maybe grieving whatever happened to Jacob.
Well, hold on. Let's see if I can find here. I took notes, y'all.
There's like, something. Okay, there's the people who I need to know, because these are the people I think there's something off with. Okay, there's Sarah Augustine. I liked her better in episode 4. She wasn't as sketchy as she has been. Like, I actually, but we also find out this is where she's a witch, but she won't cop up to it for whatever reason, even though she knows the cat's from the future. She believes her. There's obviously Cyrus Goodwin he does something horrible. Like, it's in my gut that he does something horrible to somebody this season.
Yes.
Then there is Casey Goodwin, who we watched the recap. That's the non-binary girl who just came, or non-binary person who just came to intern with Kat. They said that they're there, and in the recap they show Casey Goodwin, but we don't actually see her in episode 4.
Yeah, we do. No. She's in the audience
in the end.
Yep. But we don't like focus on her, right? There's not like a scene with her, but they made sure to put that scene with Casey Goodwin in the recap for sort of an extended time. We don't actually see Casey Goodwin have any valuable scenes or anything other than that. And then also, I know he's not a time traveler because he's the most popular kid in school, so he has to have been there for a long time. Something is up with that guy. I don't remember his name, but it's the one who's always suddenly in the cafe.
That actor should have played young Brady, because he looks more like young Brady than actual young Brady does.
But is there a reason?
In my opinion, him and Alice cannot be a couple, because that's gross. That looks like your brother. And even if it doesn't turn out that way, he looks like your twin brother. But
do you think there is a reason that he looks like a young Brady? Maybe because Brady had such a huge change of heart.
That guy looks way too much like Brady for that to not be connected at some point.
And I think
it's creepy.
Who Brady was when we first meet him, that jerk face that we all hated, and I'm talking past Brady, who we all just wanted to punch in the face repeatedly until he was passed out. That's who he was. And then we see him with Del in the past, in 2001, saying, this is home. This is the only place I've had this home. And he's talking about all this stuff here. And then he continues to come back there. And then the things he says to Del, where did that change happen? Because Kat obviously has the opposite reaction. Why is he suddenly so connected and drawn to this land? So are we sure that guy just looks like Brady because it's coincidence? Or did Brady figure something out? And he's hopping places.
I don't know. I don't feel like it can be Brady, because I feel like
I know. Because he is the most popular guy in school. If he's the most popular guy in school, he's been there for quite a while.
Yeah, and we would know. Brady wouldn't change his looks. It's not like identical to Brady, but he just looks like Brady.
He does look a little retro, though.
I know. I think it's a mistake in casting, but I mean, I think that is.
Is it another green?
I think that one actually is.
But there is something off with that guy. I never really thought it was Brady and Kat's anything, or even Brady anything. But there's something off with that guy. They keep honing in on him watching Alice intently in the cafe.
Yeah, and why? Because we had a perfectly good love interest in Spencer. Like, I'm not sure why we needed to introduce
Spencer. Oh, that's right. He's gone. That's right.
Now talking about Casey Goodwin, I think they are from the future, and I think I told you. I just I think the way, because they are non-binary, I actually do think this, because I think if they were from 1814.
They wouldn't know that term.
That's not a concept that anyone was comfortable like speaking about. Now, I'm not saying it didn't exist, because it probably absolutely did, but no one was comfortable. No one was comfortable in saying that and being that person. I do think they're not from this time, though. So I'm saying the future. They seem to be very enamored by Alice. Could this be Alice's child from the future?
It could be. They're also really drawn to Kat, though.
Well, but Kat's their grandma. Do you know what I mean? I feel like, I know that the last name is Goodwin, and maybe it is. Maybe somehow
Maybe
they're a Goodwin and a Landry. I don't know.
What is the popular guy's name?
His is Noah something else. It's not a founding name. I don't remember
because
what it is.
They said the Goodwin line died out with that elderly woman. That she was the last of her line when she died in episode 1. That's what they said.
Of.
Well, but Casey Goodwin said her dad's there, so that can't be right.
She said it was her dad.
She says she's there in the episode where we meet them. It's like she's there with her dad.
That's what she says.
Because when they talk about Evelyn Goodwin in the beginning, they said, sad, she's the last of her line. She's the last of the founding families. And that's when Kat was like, no, we're a founding family too.
Yeah. Maybe in Port Haven. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe because Casey also said that they were just there because their dad was going through some stuff. So maybe that's the miscommunication there, that in Port Haven, that's the last of.
I think the one thing that I thought was that her name actually wasn't Goodwin.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they are a Landry. They could also be a Goodwin, but I really think there's a tie to the Landry family because I don't get an ominous vibe from Casey. I think they're one of the good ones. I think Alice's daughter is where I'm leaning, because that would kind of be a full circle. Like if we end up getting done with a certain, like, to move the storyline forward, we could go to the future to where Alice is an adult and I mean, I don't know. I think it's a way, if you wanted to continue this going further, we could do it, you know?
And I mean, what we saw Alice do when she went to the past was she said, yeah, my parents live just over here. My parents do this for a living. Like, she had to make a backstory for the parents that weren't actually existing then. So Casey Goodwin could be doing the same thing. My name is Goodwin. My dad is here. Maybe her dad's not there. Or maybe their dad's not there. Maybe their name isn't Goodwin. So, I mean, they could be saying this and it's not actually nothing of it is factual.
Right.
What else happened in this episode?
The land.
Oh yeah,
what is this? What there? I feel like there has to be something more with this whole land thing.
And that dude.
Yeah, what is his name? I want to call him
Sam. Is that what his name? Is his name Sam?
Yeah.
He's another one who I'm like, what is your deal? You are way too weird about this stuff.
I know.
I think he's also not from this time, but I don't think he's a bad one either.
Everybody's.
If you were not born in Port Haven, like, and we can see your birth certificate, like, you're not from this time, I don't think.
We're just everybody's coming out of the pond.
I don't think he's bad though.
I don't either.
Actually, this episode, I got the vibe that we really are just finding a new love interest for Dell. I mean,
I'm hoping that's where all this is going.
The fact that I liked his interaction with Brady was kind of funny. The whole like Brady's
lawyer. Like, we won.
Like, you didn't really do anything, did you? But okay. Good effort, cute. I guess. It was cute though that he was trying to be like, you know, like that for Dell. And the fact that like he had found a way to pay her by like, you know, we're gonna board the horse.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna talk about the horse, right?
Somebody has to let Colton out.
Colton?
Let that man out. He's tired and he's dirty. I do think, okay, so I don't get a bad vibe from Sam, but I get a vibe that there is a lot of things we don't know about him that we need to know, is what I get from him. But I feel like he's a good dude. The horse thing is weird though, how connected that horse is to Dell. So, I mean, yes, I know it's insane. I know we joke about it, but there has to be some tie to that horse and Dell, or that horse and Landry land. There has to be some tie there.
I think the horse, like, I mean,
the horse is from a different time.
I think the horse is her horse that she had when she was a kid. She mentioned how much they looked alike. How do we like?
And that's why there's already that connection.
That's a horse.
How old is that horse though?
The horse is a time traveler, Maureen.
I think the horse is time traveling. Like, I mean, I know that I actually believe that part. Like, I'm not joking. I don't know how.
Everybody, I want to see its birth certificate right now.
I think
it is not from Port Haven.
Well, I think I've proven, at least in the chats to you all, by my picture that I showed you, that Colton is time traveling at some point in his life.
I still am not convinced that person is Colton.
I am. Like, I'm it's the
like
exact
99% sure.
It is the same shirt that he has on in that scene that he's talking. It's the same one.
Yeah.
The exact same one.
You have to lighten it up.
How would that be possible?
Because he's time traveling.
But he wouldn't be looking the exact same as he's looking at himself in that moment, wearing the same clothes. That's
my
not
husband
possible.
has had the same button ups for like 10, 15 years now. Like, I think men don't get rid of their clothes like we do. Okay, they do keep their clothes for like ever.
If he was time traveling, he would not look the same as what the scene he was looking at.
Maybe he's not time traveling very far at that point. Maybe he's only going back or forth a few years or something like that.
Where you need to go.
I'm all for if Colton comes back to save himself. I'm all for that. But I'm not convinced that one outside the fire was.
I think it is him. And I think somehow he brought the horse with him.
I hope that I am the only one right here.
I just like want the scene of like Colton on the bareback of a horse coming out of the pond. Like just in like Dell sitting there.
Hey Dell, I got this for you.
Happy birthday.
I can just see it like in my head.
See, now because we've been joking about the theory that he's inside this horse for so long, I keep thinking of that scene in Ace Ventura 2 when he comes out of the rhino.
Oh. It's my favorite. That's number 2, Ace Ventura 2. That's way better than my Trojan idea. So,
I mean, that was pretty.
I don't know if it's way better, but I don't know if we can like really classify it as way better. But
it's way better.
That's fine.
We are theorizing that there's a human being sloshing around inside of a horse. I don't know that it's great theory. But there is, so the horse, Sam, the land, Casey Goodwin, there's something weird with Noah. Like, I feel like, I don't think he's a time traveler, but the way he watches Alice, I feel like he knows.
Something. There's something. I don't know what
I get more sinister vibes from him than I do Casey. Like, he should be a good one who's like back here, like trying to like cause trouble.
He could still be of the Goodwin line. He just maybe it's on his mom's side rather than his dad's. So he doesn't have the same last name. But I feel like he knows that Alice is doing this. The way he watches her, and even that scene when she said, "How did you know I sang?" She was like really put off guard. And he had a reason of, "Oh, I saw you at this thing."
But did he?
Exactly. I feel like he said it that way to intentionally catch her off guard because he's trying to tell her, "I know what you do. I know who you are." Is kind of the vibe I get from him.
He's not Nick. We need Nick to time travel.
I feel like she said goodbye to Nick in this episode.
Why?
No, I like their little scene. No, because we definitely know they reunite later on, but I mean he's old man. But
how do we know that?
Well, they see each other when he's old.
each other when he's older.
Yeah, but it's not, they don't reunite.
That we know.
Ugh.
Not yet when she's 18.
Yeah, whenever she's 18 and he's like
no.
40.
No. That's a whole loads of wrong.
Look, I think Nick is gonna somehow Nick is gonna eventually be able to time travel to the present time to be with her.
I don't think so.
Gonna be happy.
No, I'm not gonna accept anyone else as her love interest.
I like Spencer.
Nick is gonna need to be Casey's dad. Like, this is what we're like. If this is Alice's daughter in the future, or Alice's child in the future, Nick's her daddy.
I don't see that.
Daddy Nick. Yep.
Stop. So what if Alice goes back and gets pregnant in the past when she time travels? Is she still pregnant?
That's a good question.
No.
That is a good question. Could that be?
No.
Because she's pregnant by teenage Nick.
I don't want to see a pregnant 17-year-old Alice. I don't want to see that. That does not
interest me. Like when she's like 18.
Next season when she's 18.
Yeah. But she'll have a lot of support. It'll be great. The kid will be loved. We love it. Okay. It's okay.
No.
Keep it going.
I don't like
Hallmark. The time travel. I bet the pond wouldn't let her travel until she had a baby. But then she could bring the baby back. The baby time travel with her.
We're making a whole lot of assumptions of what this pond can and cannot do.
Look what I got. Yeah.
First I have Colton on horseback coming out. Now we have Alice with like baby Simba coming out.
She comes out like this. Somebody's gonna be at that pond watching a baby's head slowly appear out of the water.
Young mother arrested for trying to drown her baby in the pond.
Poor thing. Oh my gosh. I like that idea though.
That was horrible.
Speaking while we're laughing, okay, so this is like really of no relevance whatsoever.
The proposal, I know, it was hilarious.
That was
I
thought it was cute.
Okay, that was so cringy, but like my 90s, early 2000s youth thought to myself, why couldn't I have had that?
Yes.
I would have liked a Moulin Rouge proposal.
With better hair. Kat's hair was awful.
Better singing. I was laughing the entire time.
His singing was fine.
Yes, he was being vulnerable and willing to embarrass himself to show someone how much he loved them.
So cringy.
This is where we can tell that Amanda is like 7 years younger than us, because this is where it shows right now.
I would have said no. Do not embarrass me like that.
Oh no, I'd be like,
no, I'd be like, that was embarrassing. Everybody's gonna make fun of me. Like girls' nights, they're gonna be like,
dude, everybody that saw it was dancing too. They can't be embarrassed. I mean, Monica and Nick were dancing right alongside of him. So
what I did
think the real proposal was better.
What I do think was weird and disproportionate was the way she said that it was too much to the way she said yes. I didn't think her reactions lined up very well.
I agree. I think I don't know. I think she's in just a weird headspace. Like, anyway. So,
I actually thought she was going to settle for Brady because she just wanted to make sure she never had to go back there. That she didn't actually want to marry him.
That's not fair to Brady.
It's not, but because of the way that first part of the proposal went, that's where I thought they were going with it. But then she said all this overtly sweet things to him when he actually, like, I felt like it didn't match up. There's something off with that there, the way it happened, especially since the way they tell the proposal has nothing to do with that second part of it.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, they just tell you the cringy part.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about that wasn't exactly what I was going to say was funny, but it is about the proposal. It's when they're at, like, Brady and Kat are, well, it's before they go back to that scene or whatever, and they're at the cafe and they're in line and they're talking about stuff, and Kat says, "And I love you for that," to Brady, and Elliot's standing behind them. Did you all pay attention to his face? Because he's like,
yes.
Awkward.
I did.
I thought it was really funny. Like, I will admit that, like, even though Elliot has completely exhausted all of my nerves lately, the actor himself, like, I'd love to see him do a comedy because his facial expressions crack me up. Like, he was like, this is so awkward right now.
Absolutely. And mine were yelling at the TV the whole time, like, dude, because Brady said our photographer flaked out. He didn't take a single picture, but followed them around the entire night until, obviously, he couldn't show them the picture because Alice was in it.
But he was taking pictures in the restaurant during the proposal.
But they said that they didn't see any of them. That's what Brady said. Our photographer flaked out.
You know what? And not bothering to share the photos. Like,
we definitely saw the picture that he took from the boat, like, but
I get why he couldn't share that one with them. But why didn't, if he took other pictures, why didn't he show? Because every time I saw him, his hand was on the lens, but it wasn't up by his face. I didn't ever see the camera.
I honestly thought he was just kind of taking pictures down there. I was like, that's kind of lazy, but okay.
No, I don't think he took any until that one moment. And even
was he too overwhelmed?
Even in that moment where he took it of Alice, they did a very poor job showing that he took that picture because they showed him like bringing it to here and then he put it back down and walked away is what they showed. So mine are like, he didn't take a single picture, but then magically one appeared. But they didn't do a good job just explaining that either.
I think we're gonna start. I don't know when. I don't think it's going to be any in the next couple of episodes, but I think we're going to start understanding why Elliot is acting the way that Elliot acts. Because in season 1, we didn't mind him.
No, we actually all really liked him.
I feel like ever since he came back from visiting his dad or whatever, something is changed off, but barely. Not too much before that. I feel like something. He time traveled and saw something. I don't know.
And most of the animosity is faced towards Alice.
Yeah.
So
it's really unfair. I mean, like,
did he sleep with Alice?
Guys, okay. I don't think anything happened.
I would not be happy with that.
Are we positive?
There's no way Alice would.
No, I don't think that. But are we sure that Elliot didn't develop feelings for Alice? He seems like that clingy, obnoxious type that, I don't know. I kept getting weird vibes in this episode, like, because I feel
like he's too in love with Kat, though.
But once Kat is now with Brady, if Alice keeps going back and like they're friends, I don't know. He seems like that type that could just like hyper fixate on someone, and I don't know. I just got weird vibes. I'd never gotten them until like recent episodes.
I think we need to be asking the question: why does the pond keep sending her back there? She didn't need to be there to see the proposal, so why does the pond keep sending her back to that time? What is it that she's supposed to be seeing, knowing, understanding?
It's something. 18. You mean talking about 1814? Or
no, I'm talking about Alice going back to 2001. I get why Kat's going back to 1814, but the pond's supposed to send you to where you need to go. So why does she keep getting sent there?
I'm not sure that I don't understand Kat either, because at the time she's getting sent, Jacob is not there.
but she's learning at least stuff.
Exactly.
She's at least getting answers. Alice is just like gallivanting around the time sphere, and I don't know what she's doing.
If the pond is so particular, what is she being sent back there for so routinely?
She's getting ready to see whatever happened at Lingermore, that woman that gets murdered. I don't know.
Yeah, but why all the in-between stuff?
I think background. Honestly, I think it was to introduce
just a reason to show us that stuff.
Maybe to show us why, to show us Kat and Brady back and getting engaged and all of that, just to lead us up.
So basically, it's just a vessel to show us a scene from the past.
I think so. I think so.
I don't know. I want every time they're sent back to be filled with meaning. I don't want it to be just a vessel so we can see something.
It wasn't last season. Not at first. She got sent back way before Jacob disappeared and stuff. So
but that was because she was so angry with her mom. That was to better understand her mom. Now her and her mom are fine.
Maybe it's to see Kat and Brady's relationship.
The other thing too is that's maybe the other thing too is that when Kat first started jumping in the pond, she was also getting sent back to that same time period that Alice was going to. She was going back to see Jacob. She was going back to the same time period. And now the pond is like, okay, you saw that. Now see this. So I think we're making that leap that, okay, this was then, and this is what happened right after that for the person that you're looking for. So I think the question we need to be asking is, what is each of their individual purposes? Why do they keep making the decision to go back? Kat's is to find Jacob, right? What is Alice's? Because I think what the pond is doing is sending them
just
back
to understand her parents.
I think the pond is sending them back so that they can to where they need to fulfill the purpose that they're doing. I think they're still controlling the pond, but it's based on what their purpose of jumping in the pond is. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And Alice's can't be as simple as I just want to understand. She was frantically, almost desperately needing to see that proposal. Why?
Well, it doesn't help that she doesn't have any friends.
She does. She just doesn't go around them.
Not really, though. Yeah. Not
doesn't go around them.
See, remember season 1, they all kept getting mad at her for not showing up and not hanging out with them and not being around them.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think she feels for those people like she does her friend group in 2001.
But this entire season, when she goes back, the only one she talks to is Elliot.
I know. That's why it's getting weird.
Even with Nick, it was, okay, this is the last time you're going to see me. Bye, Nick. So she kissed him, but even then, she didn't really want to hang out with him.
I don't think that's the last time she sees Nick, though. They can't be.
I don't like.
I think we all like Nick too much. Y'all can't just write him off. You're the minority that
you wouldn't have shown him as an adult in her life as nowadays if he didn't come back in some sort of way.
I cannot get past I dated you when you were 16 and now I'm 40 and I still want you because you're the one I fell in love with when you were 16.
But he doesn't even know it's her, I don't think.
You think he's not going to remember this girl that he was in love with and just vanish from his life when he sees her?
No, not when he's that old. Because he's going to go,
he's not 90.
No, I mean, even if he's 40, I'm like, I would have been like, are you, Alice's daughter? Are you guys related? What?
Elliot immediately recognized her.
Because he knew she was a time traveler, though.
Yeah. I don't think if I didn't know, I wouldn't have. Yeah. I wouldn't immediately be like, you time traveled. That would not.
Oh no, that wouldn't be my thought. But I think you're gonna be like, wow, you look exactly like the girl I used to date.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something.
Yeah. Yeah, because they make the mention of what if Jacob never returns. I don't remember writing that down.
Well, so let's talk about Jacob for a minute. He's a full grown man, about to be married to the Augustine line. What is the end game here for Kat? What do you hope to do? She even says to Sarah, he might not be here for you. He might be gone. Basically she's saying, I might take him with me. To do what? How are you going to convince Dell that this is her son? What are you going to do with him in the current time? He's now spent way more time in 1814 than he has in the present.
Yes.
In fact, he's never spent any time in the present.
So
I don't know. He is way more formed by the 1814 time period than he is from the 2000s, early 2000s. So he's not even going to be the same dude because he's going to have all the mannerisms and be completely marked by 1814.
I don't know. He was 8?
Yeah.
I feel like you'd have a little bit of a mix.
He's 24 now. No, he's 33.
But he would still have foundations. He was still writing his J and K under the table. He was still
That's how he started though.
I know. I don't think he'll lose it all. I think he will have mannerisms from like back then. And I think that will be a lot of his personality. But I think, I don't know, at least I hope like he still has a little bit of a home base.
Because I mean, if we're thinking about it, kids are probably kids in every time. I feel like you're not like a child from like 1814. Yes, it's going to be different than a child now just because they don't understand certain technologies, but like mindset, I feel like are probably very similar to the same.
Yeah.
Whereas an adult in 1814 versus an adult in like today's time, so worlds far apart. Different. Like that, I don't know. And also, how do we know that you can bring him back without altering everything there is to alter about your history?
Yeah.
What if maybe that's why they're focusing so hard on the land, because that's the message they're trying to send us, that like Cat is trying to bring him back and this land is all going to be gone. It's not going to be Landry land anymore.
It won't be.
Because we still have the theory, right, that Jacob is the founder of that land. Like he's the one who got all that land.
I think so. I think he's the original Landry.
At least part of it. I mean, like him and his brother, obviously.
But I think he's the one who grew the land to be what it is now.
Yeah. Not the original, obviously, but the
right. I think he gets killed, and we may have to save him somehow then. But
and I think with his signature, like we see him, when he first gets there, he's still doing the same signature he did in the 2000s. But then we can see in the almanac how I think that's what they were trying to show us by showing us his original signature on the table. But then looking at the almanac, how fancy it was and how it was doctored up to be that calligraphy of that time. I think that was the point of that.
And so why do we think that Jacob's not in any of the history books then?
That's one thing that completely boggles my mind. I don't know. Why wouldn't they?
Because history is written by the winners, and Port Haven's winner is Cyrus Goodwin.
Oh, that's right. That is exactly what she said, isn't it?
Exactly.
I'm up on Hallmark.
That is why I think that we're talking about Cyrus is worried that someone's stealing from his ships, the ship that Jacob is on right now, that he is going to get blamed for this and be imprisoned and possibly executed. And I bet Cat is going to have to stop this execution from happening.
How?
I don't know.
Or Susanna, maybe. Maybe Susanna and Cat together work together and save them.
I think they're going to start a friendship, because the way that the last scene was with them, the way she said, I believe you, and Cat was like, I believe you, and Cat's trusting her with this very big piece of knowledge, and Sarah's obviously healed her, so something is off there. But the things
that shawl that Susanna gave her, pretty sure that's the one she's wearing in the painting too.
It is.
Yeah, I noticed that. I forgot about it, so you just said it, but I did notice.
So who paints the painting, do we think? Do we think it's actually Jacob? Because I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either.
I don't think it's Jacob. I don't think we know who does it yet.
The other thing too is that the only people who got portraits like that look like that made are wealthy people. Not people who live like Jacob Landry.
But why was it in her house?
Why was it in the Goodwin's house? Because I think that there's some sort of relationship, whether it's they take her in, whether she's doing some reconnaissance there and she's like playing double agent. I don't know, but somehow she ends up, because you look at even the dress she's wearing in the painting.
Who's the Goodwin back in 1814?
Cyrus. But
he does have a wife. Family? He does have, I think he's got a wife and kids.
But that doesn't matter back in 1814.
What?
He's not going to be a good guy, but I was going to
say, he's already a bad guy. Just because he's married doesn't mean he's not going to fall in love with Catherine some weird, gross way.
Now we also have to remember that Sarah Augustine, she doesn't know what happens. She does not know how this works out. She's saying the winner is Cyrus Goodwin. She's only saying that because he's the head of the town and he's forceful. Do we know that he actually ends up being a bad guy, or is that just Sarah Augustine's view of him because they think she's a witch and he is this whatever powerful guy that has the town?
That's the vibe I get from him for sure.
Oh yeah, I get a sinister thing, but she's saying that Cyrus wins. How does she know that he wins? She doesn't. Because I think
he wins a little bit based on like Evelyn's like big old fancy house. The good ones obviously in some way win for the rest of time here.
I know that, but Sarah doesn't know that. So what win is she talking about him winning? She can't say Jacob's not in the books because he loses and Cyrus wins. She doesn't know that.
Yeah.
So what, unless
we already know she's a witch.
Yeah, but witch doesn't necessarily mean you know the future. That's a clairvoyant. But I mean, even so, because she says, I'm not a witch, I'm a healer. I have a connection to nature. That's what she says. So does she know somebody else who is feeding her this information? Is there someone else in her line who's doing this? Because she doesn't actually know the future. That's or she would know who Kat is without having to be told by Kat. So I think that, yes, obviously we know, and Kat knows that the Goodwins win because of that big fancy house. But also that house, the way it is, I suppose that's 1800-ish because you look at English land, it's got the big brick fancy and the ponds and stuff like that. But I feel like in 1840, I don't know. I wish we had, now what I wish is we had more background on the history of the Goodwin house, of when it was built, when all they came to their immense wealth. Because looking at the town from when Kat escapes from, let's see, like, why was Sarah and that other, what was that other dude's name? Theo?
Thomas Coyle.
Thomas Coyle. Why were they keeping her in a basement to be healed? Like, why did he want her to keep her prisoner? Why was he telling her to keep her locked up? Whatever. That's
maybe because he shot her.
But you look at the town is kind of it's like an old West town, ramshackle wood. Yeah. When was this big, masterful lime and stone house built? When did he and where did he get the finances for that? How did he get the finances for that? Was it Cyrus or was it the next generation?
I don't think it was his generation.
I think we're in the time period where he's beginning to get his wealth with these shipments because of the war. I think he's providing materials to America for this war. And so
because that house was definitely built like after 1820. Like that's obviously after. I feel like, at least. I think if not, then that's a lot of money.
Yeah, right now.
Because in the English countryside and like the early 1800s, those kind of houses were predominant in the countryside, but they weren't. Well, I suppose I don't know much about Canada, but in America they weren't.
I was going to say in Canada, I feel like Canada and America are kind of, similar when it comes to.
I know that Canada is part of the British nobility, right? It's part of, they serve the Queen. They have a prime minister and they serve the Queen, right?
Yes.
Or king now, I guess. So they maybe that is common for them because it's still British land, even though it's Canada. I don't know. But I feel like that house is another entity all unto itself. Kat has some sort of relationship with the Goodwins that allows her to have money spent on her the way the Goodwins would on themselves. Because the dress she's wearing in that portrait is nicer than any of the dresses anybody else is wearing. She's in a library. So there's some tie in there that Kat has. The person who wrote My Catherine, I think, was either because they would have either gifted it to the Goodwins or it would have been put up there because Kat was becoming a Goodwin in some way, shape, or form, whether it's fake or not. So who wrote My Catherine?
It still weirds me out that that's the exact words that Colton said to her when he saw her as he was dying too. I don't know why, but that can't be a coincidence, right?
Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just showing the love. Maybe it's showing that maybe Cyrus or whoever owned that house in 18 wait, the painting was from 1814, so maybe that house was there then.
Is the painting from 1814?
It says 1814 on it, which means that painting has to happen really soon.
And she is wearing that little shawl thing a lot, going back and forth to, I guess, be incognito.
So the first person who would have called her My Catherine would have been a Goodwin. Is there a man that maybe Cyrus Goodwin has an adult son?
Oh, I was going to say maybe he has a son or a brother.
I told Amanda this too, and I don't know where this even fits into the story, but if we do find out that Colton is a time traveler, maybe Colton isn't from technically this time, but he came back, met Dell, and decided to stay around or for some reason. Colton has this like wisdom about him. I could feel like I could see him being, I don't know, Colton and just Grandpappy Landry. What was his name? Sorry, that's what I'm going to call him. Like I can't think of.
Elijah.
Yeah. Elijah. I keep thinking Elliot too. Yeah. I was like, it's an E.
They have this similar aura and vibe about them, I think. And maybe that's because they're both supposed to be Landrys, whatever. But like, I don't know, I just see a lot of similarity. So what if we meet Colton back somehow in 1814?
I think that's possible. Because he meets Dell in what, college?
Yeah, I mean, somewhere in there. I mean, I feel like, yeah.
So between 18 and 22. Roughly he could be, I mean, back in 1814, it's not like they became adults at the age of 18 or 19. They became adults much sooner
back
then. So
did we see
William?
Did we see his son?
That's what I was just going to say. Did we didn't see
I think
William
we only saw the back of him, didn't we?
Wait, and he's got a son named Jacob?
Yeah. Elijah's son.
Elijah's other son, William.
Who named his son Jacob. We didn't get to we saw him in the front yard. We saw the back of him. I thought, but we didn't see him. That could be him.
I think
maybe that's why the White Witch said that Jacob had to stay there for then. Because his dad was there. And his dad could watch over him.
Oh my gosh, my brain is like...
I know. But William and Jacob are the same back in 1814, or roughly. They're a couple years apart, right?
Who?
William Landry and Jacob Landry back in 1814. They're only a couple years apart.
Yeah, but so that means that, like, I don't know.
The thing with me is that, like, even with Cruel Summer, like, I could come up with theories. Like, and I had theories. I had theories upon theories upon theories. This one, I just have ideas of potential things that could turn into a theory. That's all I've got.
Yeah.
I don't actually fully understand any of these concepts or timelines. And I think that's going to give the show a lot of longevity, because we've got the 1814 storyline, we got the 2000 storyline, we got the Goodwin family, we got the Landry family, we've got the Augustine? Augustine. We've got the Augustine storyline, we've got the Cyrus Good, like, we have so many different storylines for so many potential things. So maybe I feel like we're trying to figure out all this stuff and how all of it fits into one season, but maybe we're just focusing on one of these lines, one of these storylines for this season. And maybe not all this is important for this current storyline, but they're setting up things for the future. Maybe.
I have a question. How do we know that we don't see Nick again?
Because she tells him, and we don't for sure. It's the same thing with Sarah Augustine. Alice has no idea if she ever sees him again. But she tells him, he said, am I going to see you again? And she said, I don't think so.
No, I think she says, Alice says that she has to go, and Nick asks if he'll ever see her again. And she says, yes, someday you will.
I thought she said,
no,
because we know that she's already seen him when he's older.
We know for a fact she sees him older later.
Well, yeah, I think that's what she's saying.
I do too, but I think that also gives us an open ending of, you do see us, but
I don't like that storyline.
The thing is, I don't see what the point of putting Nick back in this episode again if there's no chance of us seeing him anymore. Like, we had already had that closure in the future. So I don't think there was any reason to reopen that wound for all of us that are team Alice and Nick over here if nothing's happening. Like, just let it be.
The other thing too, and the reason why I don't think it's as big of a deal is because when she went back in the first season, like, she was obsessed about Nick, right? She wanted to see him, she wanted to be with him, she wanted to further the relationship. When she goes back here, she's watching her dad and her mom. She's not even really paying attention to Nick. And when he came out, she wasn't like effusing over him like she was in season 1. She wasn't like, oh, Nick, I'm so glad to see you. It was, hi, you want to go for a walk? Yeah, sure. That was kind of her attitude about it. It felt very goodbye to me, is what it felt like.
I feel like she doesn't think it can be anything, so she's gonna.
Yeah,
so she's like, goodbye. How can this be anything? I mean,
That's what I think.
Old. So I can see that, but I still feel like they'll come up with a way. And also, it does say in here that Elliot deleted the picture of the actual proposal off his computer that night, so he did have pictures from the actual.
It looked like he put it into a folder. It didn't, because I was watching for that. He didn't put it into the little recycle. He put it into a folder.
I was thinking it was that one he put into a folder to save for later.
But how do we know he deleted everything else? We don't see him do it. We only see him put the picture into the folder.
I don't think he took any of the photos.
While she's singing at the mic night, Elliot has flashbacks to Kat and Brady's proposal, and then to deleting the picture that he actually did take of the proposal of his computer.
I didn't see him delete anything.
I don't know.
They only showed him his computer once, and that's when he was looking at the picture and he put it into the folder.
It in pictures in the. I looked at the folder name.
He didn't put it on the recycling bin.
This is probably some young kid watching that and doesn't understand what.
No, this is Hallmark channel.com.
Oh,
well, then that's accurate. But then they showed the wrong thing, because they didn't show him putting it in the recycling bin. They put it into a folder.
No, if you go to hallmarkchannel.com, it will give you like a detailed synopsis of it.
Shut up, really?
Yeah. So I don't even need to take these notes.
I've been reading it the whole time we've been doing this. That's why I keep coming up with things to talk about.
I like my notes better with the
Well, because your notes have your theories in it and how it ties. So I
think they're both important.
But I think that we don't need to take I don't think we need to take extensive notes for a recap anymore because we have Hallmark.
No. I mean,
we
it's literally go to recap season 2, episode 4, and it's 5 pages long.
Interesting.
Whoa. Maybe it's some young kid who works at Hallmark who doesn't understand how a desktop computer in the 2000s worked.
Maybe.
Because that person could be, what, 23 right now?
And they've never seen.
Exactly.
Elena, when we were watching it, I think it was that we were watching. I was like, look at his computer or something. She was like, oh my God. This is this big ginormous thing, and she's used to her little MacBook, you know.
Didn't they make like a big deal about his MP3 player too? He's like, yeah, I can hold this many songs on it.
And 25 songs, and Alice was like, yeah. Like,
great, good for you.
That's awesome, buddy.
In the beginning of this episode, she is, after she has that stupid dream, and then she's sitting with her parents, she sees the chair, and she hyper focuses on that symbol on the back of the chair.
Yeah.
I get that Jacob was sitting in the chair and that might be the significance, but they like zoomed in on the symbol of the chair. Even though in her dream, Jacob was sitting there and you couldn't see the symbol because he was sitting in the chair. So why did they zoom in on that?
Maybe that chair is going to come back in a. Now there was a chair in that Goodwin house that she would sit in and look out the window. Maybe we need to go back and look at that chair.
I thought it was her wheelchair. Why did I just assume it was a wheelchair?
Was it?
I'd probably not. That's just what I assumed it was. I just remember the binoculars.
That's the only other significant chair I can think of that we've seen so far, unless we don't know the significance of it yet.
Are those the chairs when Kat went back into 1814 that was in the Landry house that she sat in?
I don't know. I can't picture it.
Because those were wood.
I don't know. I watch this entire show over from start to finish.
Yeah.
What was the book? Right after her dream, what was that? Because I saw it was like a drawn dream.
It's Alice Through the Looking Glass, and I feel like I've not read that. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of hints based on whatever that book is. I also was curious, what book is it that Kat is holding that she's looking at in the painting of her?
Mm-hmm. Well, oftentimes they would just hand you a book. Oftentimes you weren't actually reading a book.
But here's why I'm asking, because I don't know why. I feel like, could it be that book? Because that book is the one Dell found that at the Lingermore auction and got it for Alice. I don't know. I just wondered.
Okay, so the plot of Alice,
significance of like the first book, Alice in Wonderland. The first book was Kat's copy that she gave to Alice in the first season. So I wonder if this is somehow at Kat's book again, but in 1814 that got left at Lingermore. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's something to this.
So the plot of Alice Through the Looking Glass is, after slipping through a mirror, Alice finds herself back in Underland with the White Queen, the Cheshire Cat, the White Rabbit, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Her friends tell her that the Mad Hatter is in a funk over the loss of his family. So I think that sounds maybe.
Elliot's the Mad Hatter.
Hoping to save his loved ones. Hoping to save his loved ones, Alice steals the chronosphere from time to travel into the past. What is a chronosphere?
I don't know about that.
Where there she encounters the younger Hatter and the evil Red Queen. Who's the evil Red Queen and who's the White Queen?
An infinite time superhighway containing chronological and coexisting past, present, and future timelines and wormholes within and around them. That's what a chronosphere is.
Is that the pond? Because that sounds very complicated.
That's the pond. But I think Elliot is...
Yeah, no, it is.
Who's the evil Red Queen? Is that maybe young Kat?
Is Kat a witch?
And then the White Queen is the good cat?
Well, no, because
in the movie, they're played by two completely different characters. Like the White Queen is Anne Hathaway and the Red Queen is Helena Bonham Carter. So the evil Red Queen is very clearly a different character.
The Red Queen is basically the Queen of Hearts because, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do you think do you think it's just as significant as that's just Kat's copy?
Mm-hmm. I just wonder.
So for the book synopsis, it says the story of Through the Looking Glass describes Alice's adventures as she moves symbolically from child to adult in a strange world entered through a mirror above her drawing room fireplace. The landscape there is in the form of a giant chessboard, and Alice enters the game as a white pawn. So is Alice just a pawn to get things to happen the way the pawn needs it to happen?
I don't know. All I know, I haven't seen a lot of this, but I remember Alice Through the Looking Glass. I remember a movie when I was a kid.
The Johnny Depp one?
It is way scarier. Huh?
The Johnny Depp one?
No, because that was way later. There was an old one. I'm pretty sure it was a British one. I just remember there being a Jabberwocky, like this giant dragon. It was truly terrifying. Like Alice Through the Looking Glass is a much scarier and darker version than Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which maybe is going to set up a huge significance of this season of like stuff happening. Like,
well, it already does feel more sinister than it did last year.
Yeah. Maybe Elliot's the Red Queen. We're being honest. Maybe he's not the Mad Hatter. Maybe Cat's the Mad Hatter.
I still need to know where because I don't think he was really traveling the world when he was gone. I think he was just getting postcards so that they thought this, but I think he was actually doing something like very significant when he was gone.
Like what color was the book whenever she was holding it?
I don't know.
The one she's holding in the painting is red.
Oh, that one was like dark green, I think. Well, was it?
No, I'm pretty sure it's red, guys. Like
it's red and it has like some kind of like
hold on,
gold or something symbol on the front.
I really think I don't know how to find out, but
I can't like get a clear picture of that painting.
Give me one second.
Of the book. Obviously, it's a painting of it. So,
no, you want to see what color the book is that Alice was reading?
That Alice,
Oh, wait, her name is Alice. That's probably the only significance.
Well, I think there's more to it. That's why they gave her like that's where because that's
it's
where
not like that's where Alice is named after because we know Alice was named after Alice.
Because that was Cat's favorite and her childhood friend. But I mean, it's kind of a roundabout. It's her best friend's name because she named her after the book. I mean, it's whatever. But that's why but it was Cat's copy that she ended up having.
Oh, we can't see it. It's just the open. All that work for that.
What about when Dell gives it to her?
Oh, I forgot Dell gave it to her.
She gave it to her in episode. This is what my notes are good for. Hold on, I'll let you know. She got it at the Austin, so it's probably episode.
Oh, that was episode 1 or 2.
Yeah, we'll look that up.
Why is Jacob such a creepy looking kid?
Right, and in this one specifically, okay, so in the very opening scene, the things that I said that I think is important is one, Cat says, "Look at us, don't we look cute?" And it's nothing. It's just the pond. And then Cat says, "I can't see us." Dell says, "You can't or you won't."
Yeah.
So I think that she's missing something. And then Jacob says,
"I'm drowning."
Or he does say that, but he says something else. And Colton says, "We're waiting for you." And then he said, Jacob, like very sinisterly, of course it's a dream, so it's her own perception on putting a spin on this.
Right.
But Jacob very sinisterly says something like, "Yeah, come back. We need you," or "waiting for you," whatever. And the picture that she's frozen on is Alice going for the clock. So I think that she's running out of time to do something. That doesn't answer any questions. It just creates more questions.
No, it doesn't give any, but I don't know. I think our brains are spent on this episode. I think we got nothing.
So I am going to try to edit this in a way that makes complete sense to all of you listeners. I don't know how successful I will be, but I will try. If you want to have a now this whole episode, we're trying to do recaps, but honestly, I don't know how we can do an actual recap of this show because everything makes us think of another thing from a different episode or another theory or another idea. So it's kind of haphazard. If you want a full-blown recap, Amanda has figured out that Hallmark does those for you. So go to the hallmarkchannel.com and you can find, or just search in Google for whatever season and episode you want of the breakdown of it. They give a complete synopsis of the entire episode. And it's 5 pages long. So it's very detailed. It gives you a lot of things. And I'm assuming that they're I think they're putting in all the important stuff because they're not going to put in all the fillers.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm assuming that's going to have all the important stuff. So check that out. And I hope that you can make sense of this and let us know what your theories are, because maybe there's something we're missing or we're not catching. What do you think is happening? Who do you think are the fishy suspect characters? Why do you think Cat keeps going back to 1814? Why does Alice keep getting sent to 2000 or 2001? Let us know what you think down below in the video, or you can go to Spreaker.com, Spreaker, and listen to our podcast there. You can also go to Spotify. By the way, we are having an issue with our Spotify. Just so you know, if you look up Fandom Family Chats, we no longer have the logo with the headphones. It's a little TV screen with some neon writing. So we're having trouble making sure that all of our episodes are on one. So if you have been subscribed to our Spotify for over a year, our current episodes are not uploading to that channel. So go ahead and do another search of Fandom Family Chats while we try to figure out why that's happening. And you should be able to get all of our new episodes on there that way. Or again, Spreaker.com has them all. So you can just check that out straight from there. And we're coming at you. I think our next episode of The Way Home is going to be episodes 5 and 6, a recap of those two. So watch for that and make sure that you are subscribed to our channel so we can get you some interviews. Hopefully we can start interviewing some people of this show soon, because I mean, how great would that be? Let's ask the source. So make sure you're liking our channel so we can have our numbers up so people are willing and able to come on here. And on that note, we'll see you real soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at Wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.